Hi everyone. Today I have another review of one of my lightsabers. This one is a custom lightsaber, and it's of course the Luke Skywalker Return of the Jedi hero lightsaber. I bought this a couple of years ago as an empty hilt from Roman Props, and I sent it to a sabersmith to have it installed with light and sound. So first of all, I want to go over the hilt itself, and then I'll insert the blade and activate it and show the different sound fonts that I have installed on it. So first of all, so this is obviously a Roman Props hilt. It's screen accurate, Return of the Jedi hero version. It is called the Balance V4, and it's the Mark II. So Roman made two versions of this. He made the Mark I, and then he did a few modifications to it and released it again as Mark II, but they're both called a V4 Balance. And this particular one is based more on the Last Jedi appearance, because there were a few minor alterations made to the design of the hilt for those flashback scenes where old man Luke is about to attack Ben Solo and he's got the lightsaber in his hand, and it looks very slightly different to the one that was used in Return of the Jedi. And those differences are mainly this portion here. The emitter has got these sort of holes, these ventings, and the previous one in Return of the Jedi was just flat, it was just smooth. But this was added almost similar to the Obi-Wan hilt, and I quite like the appearance of that, so I wanted that one. The rest of it is almost identical as far as I know. I mean, there might be small kind of variations in the dimensions or things, but nothing major. So this, if you remember, appeared in Return of the Jedi in a few scenes, not all of it. Luke was using another version of this in most of Return of the Jedi called the V2, I believe, which is very different than this if you look at close-up shots. But this is famous for the scene in which Darth Vader is holding it and says, "I see you have constructed a new lightsaber." And also in the deleted scene where Luke is on the cave in Tatooine and constructing this lightsaber for the very first time, we see him holding it and we see these accent LEDs, green and red. So this is that lightsaber, and as I said, Roman Props. Let's just have a quick look at this. So we'll start off here at the emitter. As I said, it's got a blade plug here. This didn't have the hole in it. I had the sabersmith drill a hole into the center of the blade plug, so it allows for some shine through. Obviously it's the thin neck. The reason I got this was, this has always been one of my favorite sabers from childhood, and I had the Hasbro, and it just had a big fat neck over here like all the other ones that you find, and I just really don't like that. It doesn't look accurate. I mean, I get why they do it because the blade has to go all the way in, but it just doesn't look right to me. So thin neck here and thin neck there, which means that the blade sits just until here, so it is a little wobbly, and you do have to be careful with these. Over here, the grenade section, nothing much to say about that. It's got a very nice kind of brushed metal over here, and the pommel cube there with the display pommel. There's another one that came with it that is vented for sound. This one right here, you can easily take this off. I mean, I have this on when I have it for display, and when I want to play with it, just so you know the sound comes out right, I just replace that pommel with this vented pommel. Okay, and accent LEDs, green and red, they're both functional. This is fixed, this doesn't move. all the electronics, the activation and auxiliary is all under here. And that's it. So for the installation, I wanted something simple. I had a Nano Biscotte version 4 sound card, which is done by Plecter Labs. It's very basic. It's an entry-level sound card. It's very good, but it doesn't have a ton of features. It has 3 sound fonts, and it doesn't have like blade effects like blaster bolts or anything like that. It doesn't have lockup, but it has sort of power on, power off, flash on clash, and you know, you can have a pre-power on kind of font or boot up sound, and you can have 3 of them in 3 different kind of colors. So that's all I wanted really for this. And I had the first one, for the LEDs I had, it's called Tri-Rebel LED, and it's green, lime and white. And the reason I went for that is I saw a video by Shamim where he had green, lime and white by Tri-Rebel LED, and they were very, very bright and really beautiful. And I was able to mix some of the green and lime to produce different shades of green for the 3 different sound fonts that I had. And so I wanted like a font for Return of the Jedi, another font for Return of the Jedi as it's sort of a different scene, and one for The Last Jedi, kind of a flashback scene. And that's what I had. So to do that, we would first of all remove this end cap here. Okay, and that reveals over here, if you see that over there, is a sound card. It's all stuck, it's all glued inside. The whole chassis is glued inside. I can't remove this. But there's a sound card, you can see it. And just above it there, that black portion that you see over there is the SD card. That I can pop out, remove, and just modify my sound fonts if I wanted to. This right here is the kill key, and that needs to be removed to activate it. So before I do that, I'll go ahead and insert a blade. This takes a 1-inch thin-walled blade. I have a standard 32-inch length pointed tip. I quite like the pointed tip blades. I think I got this from JQ Sabers. It's really good quality. It has a sort of a silvery finish. Okay, so before that, and this is the only drawback, is I have to remove the blade plug. I have to use an Allen key and go into this tiny hole right here to unscrew it. And the problem with that is my hands are not very steady, so you can see here there's some small scratches all around. I wish there was a better way to for a blade retention solution, but I don't think there is, so I just have to do my best to carefully unscrew this, loosen it, and remove the blade plug. Out comes the blade plug. And over here you can see in the heatsink there are the 3 LEDs. They're green, lime and white. And you can see here it's very, very thin, and that's where the blade sits. So I'll go ahead and insert that now. And just go ahead and tighten that screw a little. I think that's secure enough. Okay, so now what I wanted to do was I wanted these 2 LEDs to flash green and red, just like in the movie in Return of the Jedi. And that was a big problem with, because Nano Biscotte is such a basic soundboard that it actually doesn't really support that. But I spoke to the Sabersmith, Bespin Customs, who found a solution somehow. I don't know what he did exactly, but he made it work. So I'll remove the blade, the kill key, and I'll show you what happens. So with that, there's the blade key, kill key. So I've removed that.
If you will not turn to the dark side, then perhaps she will.
Okay, you can see that boot up sound for the first font came on, and it flashes green and red. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cover it with a vented pommel. There we go. So that first font I wanted to be from the final duel between Vader and Luke on the Death Star, and that's why the boot up was Vader saying, "If you will not turn to the dark side, perhaps she will." So let's power it on. And you just press the activation here. Okay, I know that the power on and the hum aren't perfectly matched, but I wanted that power on where Luke kind of screams never. I think it sounds really cool. I haven't found a solution to, I haven't found a hum that matches the frequency of it, but it's fine, it doesn't bother me that much. So this is the hum, and this is just green, there's no lime in this, so it's a very bright green. And I have this effect where it kind of flickers a bit, or pulsates, which I think looks better, it looks more accurate to the movies. And I'm just going to show you some swings and clashes. The sensitivity of Nano Biscotte is actually really impressive. Oh, here you can see, by the way, when you turned it on, the red continues to flash, but the green has become a solid. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but that's the only thing that Nano Biscotte can do. Okay, so let's just move it around a little, see what kind of sounds we get. Okay, let's just do some clashes. So I had it flash yellow for flash on clash for this font. And power off. Once you power it off, they start to flash sequentially again. So that's the first sound font, and moving on to the second one, I have to do a long press down here on the activation to cycle to the next one.
It's time for the Jedi to end.
Okay, so this is from The Last Jedi. It's taken from, or it's inspired by the scene, the flashback scene. This is a lighter shade. I don't know how clear it is on camera, but this is definitely a mix of green and lime. Again, I have the pulsating effect. Okay, flash on clash. Flash is green. And power off. time, on and off. Okay, next one. Okay, this is obviously the scene from Jabba's skiff at the beginning of Return of the Jedi, when Luke ignites his green lightsaber for the very first time and starts to fight Jabba's henchmen. So let's have a look. There we go. So that has the much sharper kind of high-pitched ignition that we hear in Return of the Jedi. And again, I have a light green here. Clash. I have a flash on clash of white here. And one more time, one on and off for this one. Okay, and those are the only fonts that I have, because Nano Biscotte only accepts 3 sound fonts. Okay, so final thoughts about this. Growing up, Return of the Jedi was my favorite movie. This lightsaber was my favorite lightsaber at the time. At the moment, it's not. It's maybe my second favorite after the Graflex, but still, it's very, very special. I love Roman props, his design and the care that goes into the construction of his sabers. They're very, very accurate. They're extremely high quality. The color here of the copper on the activation switch on the thin neck is really, really beautiful. I don't think you can get any more screen accurate than this, really. There's a few other versions, but I didn't like them. There's some that kind of open up here to reveal a crystal. They're not really for me, but this is really good. And the fact that it comes with an additional vented pommel for sound if you want to install it, it just gives it, you know, an extra kind of point in my book. The install itself, I mean, obviously if you can afford it, if you want to do some of the newer ones like Crystal Focus 10 or Profi, or well, even one of the older ones, you'll get way more sound fonts, blade effects, smooth swing. You know, there's just tons of things that you could do with this. But at the time, I was on a budget. This hilt did not come cheap, so my budget was limited as to what I could do with the install, and I didn't want anything too much. Those features were enough for me at the time. In the future, who knows, I may upgrade it for a smooth swing font. I may not. We'll see. But overall, I'm very happy with it. When it's in idle mode like this, when it's like asleep, the blinking goes to just red. Again, when I turn it off, they sort of blink red and green like that. When you wake it up. So when you wake it up, it's both of them. And when you turn it on, it's red flashes and green stays on. And that's it. So I'm very happy with it overall. This is one of my favorite collectibles. Really highly recommend anything made by Roman Props. I'll link him down below. I'll also link Bespin Customs Sabers, who helped with the installation. He's a UK based sabersmith. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any feedback or comments, feel free to comment down below, and I will see you in the next one, which will be a very special review on my Graflex. It's going to come with Crystal Focus 10, NeoPixel blade, smooth swing, all the latest stuff, because that is my favorite lightsaber. And yeah, I'll be doing a review of this in the next couple of weeks, so look out for that one. Thank you.